Good afternoon all, and welcome to today's Roads module class. I trust everyone is safe and well. As always, please feel free to use the text chat service on your GoToWebinar floating dialog to ask us any questions you may have during Cameron's presentation. So without further delay, Cameron, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Charles. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's version of Open Classroom. I thought I'd start off today's session with a history lesson. In August of 1978, Mr. R. Stockdale published a paper titled The Vertical Alignment Design of Roundabouts, after which his method of vertical alignment roundabout design has become widely used. We use this method inside Civil Designer. It was first introduced in the 2015 version, and we've had numerous requests to show it in our webinar series. That's the objective today, to give you more information on the functionality. The roundabout function can have 3 or more incoming roads. The roundabout can be non-circular and it's non-restrictive. You can use line arc lines, polylines, splines, which you convert into polylines, or CAD arcs. I'm going to leave this project open and go to the beginning of the design. I'm going to show you how you can take your 4 road designs, drape your CAD work on top of it in order to design the roundabout. Before we get started, let's take a look at these 4 roads. I'm going to turn off the CAD layers. With this roundabout design, as I mentioned before, you don't have to have 4 roads, you can have 3 or more. My north and south road, these are actually dual carriageway templates that we've used. So with the north road active, I'm going to go to Tools, Template Paths. You'll see I've named it dual to single. So I've taken a dual carriageway road, gone to the carriageway setup. I've gone and made the pivot to center line and the pivot to median 0. And then I've also checked in my edge levels that the spreadsheet is correct. That is applicable to the north and the south road. Something else I need to mention is when you do your roundabout design, you use your pivot points and not your median breakpoints. For those of you who aren't familiar with the pivot points, I'm just going to go and turn on a CAD layer for my pivot points. We use these pivot points because the cross-sectional grade changes on these pivot points. The approach left and right pivot strings are adjusted and heighted to follow the crown lines. Which crown lines, you may be asking? I'll explain that shortly. With the road information out the way, let's focus on the CAD geometric work. If I go and turn off my roads, you'll see I've got a layer here called track generation, and this is a very cool function. You can take your road designs and convert different elements or entities in your road designs to give you CAD lines. And these CAD lines are really useful when you do this sort of geometric design. As an example, you can see here the north road doesn't have a center line. So I'm going to take the road and I'm going to convert the center line into a CAD line. Looking at north road, let's convert that pivot or center line in this case into a CAD line. Switching the road off again. And then with North Road active, I go to Alignment, Horizontal, Track Generation. With this function, you don't have to do the entire road. You can go and specify a start and stop chainage. That's why you can see over here I've got shorter sections. You can go and specify an offset from the center and then specify which CAD layer you want the result on. There's the center line or pivot line drawn in for me. Using these lines, I've then determined more or less where the center is. I'm going to go and turn on the crown circle. these circle crown lines are not necessarily the highest points on the cross-section, but are rather imaginary lines which usually indicate change in degree of crossfall across the road. This crown line must be approximately 2/3 the distance between the central island and the road edges. So I'm going to turn on those CAD layers. Eventually that would be my island and that would be my road edge. Then looking at your approaching road crown lines, I'm going to go and turn them on. These are lines that I've drawn in the CAD mode using draw arc function. I've gone and put in a start point from the pivot line of North Road. I've used a tangent snap mode to jump to the center crown line, and then again gone and joined it to the pivot point of my Western Road. Once you've put in these crown lines, you are able to establish where the kiss points are. Switching on the CAD layer for that, indicating where the arcs are tangent. In order to explain these kiss points, I'm going to go and open up that previous project that I showed you. Go to junctions and edit the junction. Through the design process, we'll get to this stage where you'll see a long section of all these crown lines, and on the long section, those are my kiss points. Using this information, Civil Designer picks up your existing grades of your approaching roads. It puts in a S-curve, joining the two grades, and then the roundabout crown line would be drawn in using a cubic spline. Going back to the original project, I've selected this particular project because, as you can see, the four roads aren't straight. And at the same time, if you look at West and East Road, their road widths are very different to the North and the South roads. Now, because of this, you've got to be careful when you go and put in your road edges. Let's look at that in more detail. Switching off my kiss points and turning on my road edges. There's different ways that you can go and draw in these edges. What I've done is I've used my geometry functionality. I've put in 3 circles, one tangent to the outside edge of West Road, another one tangent to the outside edge of North Road, and where my kiss point is, I've divided that in half. Again, using my CAD mode, going to draw arc through 3 points. Going back to my road mode, selecting the appropriate CAD layers, and preparing for the design. Let's turn off the geometry lines. So here you can see the integration between your CAD and your road designs. Let's go ahead with the design. You don't have to first go to File, select Road File. Civil Designer will automatically go and create a road file for you. Instead, we go to Junctions, add Roundabout, indicate Roundabout Crown, so selecting the circle in the middle, and then right-click in and extract string. Reading my prompt, it says indicate entry or exit crown number 1. So on the top left, we'll start over there. And it doesn't matter in which quadrant you start in. I go and select my approach road crown line. Again, go and right click and select extract string. Reading my prompt, I now need to indicate the entry point of my crown line. I'm going to go and change my snap mode and go and select the entry point. And this is the direction in which you drive down the road. Put in an exit point, and then go and select the road edge. The entire line is selected, so once again go and right click and select extract string. When Civil Designer does the design for me, I can go and specify at which coordination interval I would like these crown lines at. I'm happy with the 5 meters, so I click on yes. Do you want to add another crown line? Yes. And then using my zoom views to go to the next quadrant, go and indicate my approach road crown line. This doesn't particularly have to be all one line. You could use the line arc line functionality, and in that case you would have to go and select 3 entities. Once it's selected, again go and right click, extract string, put in my entry point, put in my exit point, and then indicate the road edge. Right click and extract. Yes, I'm satisfied with it, and yes, I would like to add another crown line. If your incoming and outgoing road widths are the same, then you could press escape here to use the road shoulder width. In my case, the road widths are different, and that is why I'm using this CAD line. If I've made a mistake and selected the wrong line, I can then go and right click and select redefine last entry. You can see both lines are selected and I'm happy with them. Do you want to add another crown line? I'm done with all of them, so I select no. As I explained in the previous project, I'm presented with the vertical alignment design. Let's go into more details here. If I go to display settings, I'm going to switch off all my strings and then just focus on the southwest string. You could also go and turn on ground lines. You got information here at the bottom, so you can turn on your cross sections, chainage, elevation, crossfill. And because of Civil Designer's full-on integration, you also have the option of selecting crossing services. So if you've got your sewer, your stormwater, your water network, and I'm going to make southwest active string. Looking at the long section, as I move my cursor, look on the plan view, you can see the position of my cross. And that there is the kiss point that I pointed out previously. You can actually go and click on that point to get a change in elevation. Looking at the beginning of this road, you'll see I've got a grade of negative 1.15. That is the existing grade of my minor south road. And then this west road, that is the grade over here. Now using those two grades, Civil Designer goes and puts in this S-curve for us. With all 4 road S-curves drawn in, Civil Designer would then go and put in your circle crown line. And it would use those kiss points for the different roads and put in a cubic spline joining those kiss points. So let's go and turn on the other roads and make the crown line the active string. Let's go and close that. Next step in the design process is to go and specify where you want this newly created road to be. And I'm going to say I want it on road 3. And in honor of Mr. Stockdale, let's go and call it Stockdale Street. Looking at the diagram, specify a lane width. So that would be from the red line inwards. Specify your crossfall grade, which is the letter E. We'll use -2%, so we want the stormwater to drain in towards the center. And then a tie-in slope of 1 in 10. So from this red line going back to our existing roads, we'll have a 1 in 10 slope. Of course, you can go and make that any value. If you've done a road design before, you've seen this cross-section extraction dialog. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Going to my display settings, you can go and specify which colors to use. You can go to your plan layout, look at the Stockdale Street, and go and update how you'd like it displayed. Now that we've got the design, there's numerous things you can do to edit the design. If you go to, for instance, alignment, edge levels, edit super, there you can go and change your crossfalls and your widths. You also have the option of going to junctions, edit junction, and that is what I did in the previous project for explanation purposes. You have the option to delete a junction, which I preferably don't want to do now, and then review junction. Let's take a look at the review junction. This is all the setting out data that you would require. So the different roads. Looking at North Road, the information would start from this side, working its way back, then that side working its way north. Leaving my output window open, I'm going to go to area volume, mass haul volume, put in your calculation details, in doing this, the inside portion of your roundabout will use the end area method of calculation. That's the information on the top here. And then after that is done, the different junctions of the approaching roads will use the triangle prism method of volume calculation. Another very nice function to use, and particularly for junction design, is your add-on strings functionality. Let's go and put in 2 islands. So I'm going back to my CAD layer, and I'm turning on my islands. These are polylines that have been drawn in. When drawing them, you want to go in an anti-clockwise direction, and you also want to ensure that they are closed. Then I make, let's say, East Road active first. I go to Tools and I select Assign Add-on String from Polyline. Then I click on the polyline. You could go and give it a name. Specify the chainage interval for straights, interval for arcs, and activate our curb library. Select a curb of choice and apply it. Within a couple of seconds, you'll see the islands being designed for you. Right click and quit. Make West Road the active road. And same thing. You can still go and turn on your slope arrows. You can put on your contours. And to finish things off, I'm going to go and put in a water feature in the center. This is just a 3D CAD drawing I've done for aesthetic purposes. Having done that, let's go and view it in a 3D format. That's all the time I have for today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. See you next time. Cheers for now. Back to you, Charles.
Thank you, Cameron. That was great, including the history lesson. And thank you to all who attended today. Please remember to renew your work from home licenses and follow the Civil Designer Software page on LinkedIn. See you all tomorrow at the same time and same place using the same link for the pipes class. Have a great afternoon and goodbye.